Wake up, Lazzzy students. Today is my second ever collaboration and it's with Lauren Hollie. Now, Lauren studies dance at university and I thought that this could be part of a new series where I talk about the different things you can do in life apart from going to university to study the traditional degrees. So she's here to talk all about performing arts and dance, and I think that it's so interesting to hear everything she has to say about her experiences with something that is kind of cool and out of the ordinary from the traditional path at university. So if you're interested, make sure you give this video a like and also subscribe to both of our channels down below. Links are in the description. Let's get into the video. So today I have Lauren here with me to talk about her university journey. Hi Lauren, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm Lauren. I'm a dance student full-time and I've taken a bit of a interesting path, shall we say, which we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, I also have my own channel, which we'll link below. It's just called Lauren Hollie. My Instagram's Lauren Hollie Fitness, if you want to follow me over there as well.
Perfect. So would you like to tell everyone in the video what you do at university?
Yeah, so I'm a dance student full-time, so that is all styles of dance. We do commercial, jazz, ballet, hip-hop, Latin, everything. I can't think off the top of my head.
Wow, that's so many.
Singing and acting and everything as well. So yeah, it's the full lot.
The full lot. And what made you want to do that? Have you always known, or is it something that you found later in life, or?
So I did ballet since I was about 5 years old, so from really little, but I literally just did that class like once a week until I was about, I want to say like 12, 13. I started doing more ballet classes, so it was still just like a little hobby. And then I did GCSE dance, and then obviously when you're at school and you start like filtering through what you do and you don't want to do, dance was one of the things that kind of stuck. And then I got to do A-level dance as well, which I know a lot of schools don't even offer, so that was good that I was even able to do that level. And then at A-level as well, I also did fashion, so that was a double subject, so it took up like 2 of our options. So it was just literally fashion and dance, and the fashion course was so intense that it literally made me hate every second of it and everything to do with fashion. So then obviously dance was the other option. I was like, oh, maybe like I could do that as a career. And then that's how I kind of started taking it more seriously. So I didn't really decide until then, when I was in sixth form, that it was actually what I wanted to do like long term.
That's amazing that your school offered those. My school definitely didn't. Performing arts, they think, no, we're not, pushing that, but it's really nice that you got to do that in school. So what path did you take to get to where you are today?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, it was a bit of a long one. So obviously I did GCSE dance and then went on to do A-level, and then from there decided, because in the GCSE and A-level dance it's more like contemporary based dance rather than anything else. And at the same time I'd also picked up some contemporary classes sort of after school as well as doing ballet, so I was doing both styles at that point. So I decided I wanted to go to a contemporary like conservatoire style school. So I started looking into those. So the main ones in the UK are Northern Contemporary, London Contemporary and Laban. So I applied for all of those and a couple of other like smaller ones. Didn't get into any. So my plan B was university, still to study dance, but it was not obviously the same as studying at a conservatoire. So I applied for, I think, what's like the maximum you can do, like 5 unis?
Yeah,
however many you can do on UCAS, yeah. I applied for all of those, like literally went through all the universities that offer dance in the UK and whittled it down to 5 to try and find the best ones. Applied for those, so that was my plan B. Like I said, didn't get into the conservatoires, so I ended up going to the Montfort University in Leicester, which is just contemporary dance. So most of the unis also offer just contemporary dance. Not many of them offer any other dance styles. It's normally just contemporary.
Interesting, I didn't know that. I wonder why, like I wonder if there's a reason.
I think it's just sort of more like inclusive, like anyone can do contemporary because it's not really, I don't know how to say it, it's not like as technical. Like obviously if you go to a ballet school, that's very like strict, like the rules are the rules kind of thing, whereas contemporary is a bit more sort of open, and there's like such a wide spectrum that would be considered contemporary dance. I think it makes it a bit more easier for more people. It's just more accessible, I think. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, you
But yeah.
kind of touched on it, but what's the difference, would you say, anyone watching this video who thinks, I actually want to go into dance or performing arts, and I know you said, you know, your first thought was a conservatoire, what's the difference? I mean, is it just a difference in teaching, or is there more to it?
Yeah, so I actually dropped out of uni after my first year because the course was not what I wanted it to be, and I'm actually now at more of a, not a conservatoire, but more like that level of training. So the main difference is like the intensity of the training and like the level and the standard, whereas at uni I was doing one dance class a day, all in contemporary, so it's about an hour and a half classes just once a day, and then I think we had a 3-hour choreography workshop as well. So we had 4 technique classes and then 1 choreography class, and that was all of our practical time, and the rest was lectures and seminars. And then at the school I'm at now, we have five classes a day. They're an hour and 15, so they're a bit shorter, but we have 5 classes a day. We're in Monday to Friday, and that's pretty much standard. Like some of them I said were like singing, acting, and then we have obviously a bit of theory to do as well because it is a degree, but it's just the practical elements is so much higher when you go to a like full-on training school, whereas at uni it's like much lower in terms of practical, from my experience anyway.
Sure. So would you say to people that want to get involved in dance and performing arts that it's probably best to really research like where you're going, and if you do the auditions and you don't get into somewhere like a dance academy or conservatoire, still make sure that it's not just going to be, you know, dead theoretical and just something that maybe you don't want. I suppose if you're doing performing arts, you want to spend every second at uni doing the, you know, like
Yeah,
actually
definitely.
dancing. I know you found that. I mean, would you have done it differently if you could have? Would you, if you could go back in time and like say to yourself, okay, this should be what you're doing, would you have definitely done it differently?
Yeah, I think I would. So I've actually ended up back in the same city. So I'm back in Leicester now at a school that was it's literally like across the road from the uni I was at. And I remember there was a couple of girls that were on my uni course that dropped out of uni and transferred to the school that I'm at now. And it was kind of like looked down at, and we were like, why are they doing that? And now obviously I've just come full circle the long way. I forgot to mention as well, after I dropped out of uni, I didn't come straight back here. I did a 2-year course at another dance college, which was a level 3. So it was basically like a sixth form, but it was still this level of like intense 9 to 5 dance training across all the styles. And I think that was like the kind of 2 years where I realised that was what I wanted to do. But then I needed to kind of like level up.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So I've ended up coming back to the degree, but I took that like 3 years, I guess, if you count uni, and then the 2 years at the college as well. So yeah, I would say I would have just cut out those 2 years and come straight here.
yeah, definitely. I mean, you still would have learned stuff though, right? Like it's good
Yeah,
to look and
definitely.
think, well, you know, it maybe wasn't pushing you where you were going. Talking about that, where are you going with it? I mean, you've done so much dance. I'm presuming at this point that's what you want to do with your life. But
Yeah,
specifically
hopefully.
around dance, what would you like to do?
Yeah, so I've just started my second year, so I've got another year after this one. But I just want to do, I think again, it's changed so much over the like years I've spent training, where I've like been exposed to different things over the years, I suppose. But yeah, I want to do cruise ships, definitely. I want to get some traveling in, maybe like a holiday resort, like contracts like that. That's the main thing about like dance careers, is that it's a lot of like contract work, so you're kind of like here, there and everywhere, but it's like shorter contracts, but then you can rack up more different jobs and different variety in your work as well, which I think is what I quite like. You don't get stuck in one thing for too long.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, do you compete in dance? Is dance kind of one of those competitive things? Do you I know that a lot of ballet is very competitive, and people
Yeah,
compete for places and jobs and things. I mean, have you found that it's like quite a competitive thing to get into?
definitely. So even like just being at college, this in my first year we had like quite a few like in-house auditions, we call them. So it'd be like a choreographer or someone comes in and it's just like a little job for like a hair show or something like that, and they come in and audition us from the school. So that's been good to like get experience and things, but you do definitely realize how competitive it is, where you don't get put forward for something and that's just within like your year group in one college, and then you realize that there's like hundreds of other colleges with people in exactly the same like position. So yeah, it's definitely competitive, but hopefully it'll be worth it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so that's something you want to do, you know, for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
You'd love to.
hopefully. As
Yeah.
long as
Well, best of
possible.
luck, obviously. I'm sure you're great. You'll make it. Have you found, I mean, I know when I was younger, I really wanted to do performing arts, and I was kind of pushed into the traditional university route. You know, I actually went to university to study film, media, and psychology, and then I ended up graduating with a degree in politics, which is a whole other story. But I actually found that the film media was very, you know, theoretical, and it wasn't hands-on, and like you said with your course, like that just wasn't my thing. Have you found that people in your life, so your family and friends and just people in general, support you, or is there still very much this stigma of, oh, you want to be a dancer? Like people can be like that, and it's obviously not fair, but what have you found?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get both sides of it. Like my friends have always been very supportive, and because a lot of my friends are dancers as well, so we're kind of in it together. My mum's very supportive as well. She's like, do what you want to do, like, you know. My granddad still asks me every time I see him if I'm still going to be a dancer. I'm like, yeah, like, not just going to change my mind now, thanks, 20 years down the line.
Yeah, I think that people, I don't know, it's still not seen. I mean, you're in the industry, really. You know, you're in that kind of university and everything. And I think that people's opinions, I mean, dare I say, need to change. It's still very much you know, oh, you want to be a dancer, an actor, or and it's as if it's not a real career. Do you think that getting into performing arts is as difficult as people say? Is it like another job where, you know, you train to be a lawyer at university, you kind of become a lawyer, or is it a bit more difficult, like you were saying with the auditioning, it's quite intense and there's a lot of competition?
Yeah, it's definitely very competitive. I'd say, I think a lot of jobs now are getting more competitive, like across the board, but definitely I don't think the performing arts industry is going to be any less competitive anytime soon, especially with everything that's going on right now. I think when the industry finally like opens back up, there's going to be so many, like obviously the people that have been put on hold for this whole time anyway, and then all the like new graduates, and then obviously we're in training, so we'll be like the next lot of graduates that are still wanting more jobs. So hopefully it
Yeah,
just creates more, but yeah.
definitely. And I mean, this is such a tough question, so forgive me, but if it didn't work out for you in your performing arts degree, is there something else you could do with a dance degree, or is it really limited to performing arts? What if you come out of university with a dance degree, and does that just leave you very kind of in one place?
I mean, what I did learn at uni was that a lot of people that went on that uni course didn't actually want to perform at the end of it. So I did learn quite a lot about what other roles there are in terms of like admin roles, like working for dance charities, like dance community, like teaching, and also how many like different strands of teaching there are. Just because like obviously the ones that I would be like exposed to were just like my weekly ballet and modern, like where we usually used to learn a syllabus, take the exam, and it'd just be like an after school hobby type thing. So there's that like strand of teaching. Then obviously you've got teaching in schools, which you can go on to do after a dance degree. You can get your PGCE, PGCE, yeah,
PGC.
and start teaching in schools, or like community dance is quite easy to get into, like teaching wise. So there are definitely options, I guess, and it's just like knowing where to look for them, I think.
That's really nice to know, and I think that that'll give people a bit more confidence in saying, okay, I want to, you know, I want to do dance, I want to do performing arts, but I'm worried that the degree really limits me. I mean, as you said, it doesn't. You know, you could get into a lot more opportunities, charities, admin, that sort of thing. So it's really nice to know. What sort of advice would you give to people that have watched this and said, actually, I want to be like Lauren, I want to do dance, or I want to do performing arts? What kind of advice could you give to those people watching?
I think if you know that it's what you want to do, then just stick to it. Don't worry about taking like the long way round, or not feeling like you're taking a traditional route, because I definitely haven't. But yeah, just stick with it if you know that it's what you want to do, and then maybe have something on the side, like you said, if it doesn't go the way you want it to, because there's so many different things that could affect it not going the way you want it to. Like I have all my fitness qualifications that I've kind of like built up over the years, so I teach fitness classes as well, so I kind of have that as like a bit of a backup, which is a bit more like comforting to have something to fall back on if anything were to happen. So yeah, I'd say stick with it and find something else, because you don't want your whole life to like revolve around it, because you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember my parents telling me that, and my family was like, okay, you want to be a singer? Well, first of all, no. But second of all, they said go to university, study something real, which I hate, but study something else so that, you know, you could try it and still have something, like you said, to fall back on. I think that's really good advice for people, because talent can get you so far, but you could be the most talented person and you're not in the right place at the right time. It's awful, but that happens to people. So
Definitely.
it would be good to have another passion. I mean, just before we wrap it up, have you found that doing your passion and working towards your passion as a job has kind of killed it a bit for you? I mean, I know a lot of singers, when they've been singers for a long time, say, oh God, you know, I used to love it and it was my hobby, and now it's my job and I hate it. So do you think that might happen to you, or have you ever had moments like that where it's no longer fun?
I hope not. I hope that doesn't happen to me, but I can totally understand why it does happen to people. Like I've had it with fitness. Like I love teaching classes, but then sometimes you just cannot be bothered. But yeah, like it kind of happened to me with fashion when I was doing that at A level. Like just doing it on that like scale of doing it like 24/7. It just like consumes you. And yeah, that hasn't happened with dance yet, so I'm hoping that it won't. But yeah, like I said, I do have other things to kind of fall back on. So I think it's just having that balance to make sure that that's not just the only thing that you have in your life that's going to consume you.
Definitely, I think that was such a good answer. So thank you so much for coming on, Lauren. That was really useful, and I think that anyone watching this who does want to go into dance or performing arts will find that super, super useful. So thank you so much. Would you like to talk about your channel a little bit before you go?
Thanks for having me. I hope it was useful. If anyone has any questions, like if you're thinking about applying or doing anything to do with dance, let me know. Send me a message, we can chat. But yeah, other than that, if you want to go subscribe to my channel, it's just Lauren Hollie. I do a little bit of fitness stuff on there, so hopefully some dance things coming. I haven't had a chance to do a lot of dance on there yet, but hopefully we will now. We're going back to normality. But yeah, feel free to come and join me over there and let's have a chat.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much again to Lauren for being a part of this video. It meant the world, and I hope that people got a lot of information out of it. Where were you guys on the Lazzzy scale today? Just before I go, I would say on the Lazzzy scale, I was probably about a 6.5 or a 7. I filmed this video, it was so awesome, and I may be filming another exciting video for next week. So yeah, let me know where you are on the scale. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!